Greetings, everyone. This is Joshua Seven Thunders, and I'm speaking to you today on emergency preparedness. Right here is my Exodus bag. Some people call it a bug out bag. I don't really like that name because when an emergency happens, you shouldn't be panicking or bugging out. You should stay calm and think. Because the first thing you need to do in an emergency is to use your brain and think about what to do. And don't just go running around without a plan. So being prepared is what we need to be today. Because right now, I'm not going to say all of the different really devastating events we're facing in 2016 and beyond. We've entered the last days of the systems that are on this planet. The earth will continue, but wicked ways of conducting business, of treating people, of interactions between governments, where you bomb children and innocent women on their way to school in hospitals, on both sides, is wrong. It's time for us to recognize that we are all brothers and sisters, and we are all in the same boat. I'm not going to mention all the secret organizations, because they're supposed to be secret, but they have plans for this world, and they have plans to eliminate about 80% or more of the world population to make it more manageable. Now, I hate to say it, but that ain't so bad of a plan if you choose the right 80%, the wicked of the world, that is killing people, that's raping people, that's robbing people, that's doing wickedness all over the place. Yeah, they need to go. But the children, the innocent, the righteous, the mothers with children, the non-combatants, the people who are on the Most High side, on Christ's side, on the right side, deserve to survive this Armageddon. So I'm Joshua. I'm speaking to you because I can look each and every one of you in the eye, from my worst enemy to my best friend, my best brother and sister, and say, I love you. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to suffer. I want you to be happy. We Rastas use and cultivate herb that makes people happy, that uplifts your spirits, that turns you back to the love of the Creator, nature, makes you appreciate the taste of food, drinks, the sunset, a beautiful woman, a beautiful man, waterfalls, flowers, you stop and smell them and look at them, birds, nature. It helps you get back one, slow down thinking, and get back one with nature, with God, with your people. I want to be one with you. I want to be one with the littlest child to the oldest man. I want you to be my brother and my little sister. So this is my Exodus bag, because it's time for me to get out of here. I'm going to my property in Jamaica, up at about 1,000 feet. And a lot of you are welcome if you want to be a part of the Higher Heights Project. For over 20 years, I've been planting fruit trees, coconut trees, flowers, edible plants, African yams, all over that 4 acres, 4 plus, is in the hills. I built the spring 2,000 feet downhill, dug with a pickaxe and shovels, and buried PVC line to a sediment tank, to a sediment filter, to a carbon filter, to my water coming out of my sink with another pure filter. And I have some of the purest filtered water in all of Hanover. But never mind all that. That's where I'm heading within the next 2 months. I'm going to be out of here. I'm in Detroit right now. This house is way too big for me. I want to live in a little cabin. I lived in a tent in my property for 7 years, from 2006 to 2013. Separated from my ex-wife for 3 years collectively. Lonely as hell. But I stayed faithful to her, and I kept working that property. And I came back here to gather resources. Wind generators, solar panels, tools, dry goods, organic fertilizers that's not available in Jamaica. LED lights that can run off, grow lights can run off my wind generator, my solar panels, and my deep cycle battery in my greenhouse. So here's my loadout of my Exodus bag. In here is emergency supplies. And one of my number one supplies, and all of yours, should be a survival knife. This. I researched a lot of knives on YouTube. YouTube is one of the best apps, websites, programs on all the internet. That and Google, I use a whole lot, and I love them two programs. YouTube is way better than the TV. You can selectively choose what you want to watch, learn how to plant a cherry tree, how to change the gas pump inside my gas tank in my SUV. I had to drop the gas tank out, do all kind of complicated stuff to get inside. Well, never mind, I did that through YouTube and fix my gas pump, but never mind that. I learned about this knife and a lot of different survival equipment on YouTube. There are really good survival channels. Gideon's Tactical, Survival Lily, Survival on Purpose, Prepared Mind 101, Ultimate Survival, Far North Bushcraft. I can go on and on. Native Survival. I studied these channels. These people teach me a lot. I've been camping all of my life. My father was a sergeant, field sergeant in the Korean War for 4 years. He camped with me, fished with me, took me up to the Upper Peninsula, taught me how to hunt, how to shoot, how to fish, how to gut animals, clean animals, cook them, prepare them. He taught me a lot, how to be a man, how to do carpentry, how to fix my car, how to take care of my family. My daddy's name was Samuel Lewis Quinn, and he was a first sergeant, field sergeant in the Korean War. And I'm going to get back, after honoring him, to this survival knife. This is a Schrade SCHF 37. It has a 1095 high carbon steel blade, which can spark a ferro rod, which is in here. I replaced mine with an aftermarket. It comes with a ferro rod, a magnesium rod, with the Armageddon Firesteel.com Armageddon version, which has more magnesium in it. This you rub on the back of this knife. It has a 90-degree spine, so it can make sparks off of this knife. This is kind of new. Make me look bad all on TV, huh? There you go. Okay, it makes sparks off of here. And after I get this wore out, it's got a coating on here. This is a new knife, so I gotta sand this coating off so it's steel against steel, so this is spark. But this sparks and use tinder. This is a tinder, we call it tinder bundle or tinder kit. This is waterproof. It has a rubber seal, it has a carabiner on it that I can hook on my belt or on a Malay strap, military style Malay strap on my pack. Inside here I have dryer lint that I collect out of the dryer. It's really dry. I have sawdust and Vaseline impregnated cotton. This catches fire really quick with a spark. And in an emergency, a hurricane, a tornado, flooding, everything is going to be wet, snowstorms. So you need dry tinder to make fires. There's many different things you can use for tinder. Shredded papers, burnt bark, pummeled on a stone or something with this until it's into shreds. And you put it in here, char cloth. But you can look at those survival channels and get to that. So this survival knife, you use it to build shelters, use it to prepare firewood, you can make a lean-to with it. It has a finger choil on it, but you can look at reviews on this Schrade SCHF 37. I chose 7 inches because 7 is earthly perfection. And 7 inches can dig a trench, dig stake holes, dig yams, edible roots. It can chop a tree down up to this big. You can build a little cabin with this, notching and digging out the notches. Cut your ropes, open a coconut. It's all kind of, you can make a spear out of it and spear game or fish, or defend yourself from wild animals like bears or wolves or coyotes. But depending on where you are, this knife has many purposes and it can save your life. When you're in an emergency, you have to think about shelter, water, safety, and food. So shelter comes first, because in below zero temperatures, you can get hypothermia and die within 3 hours. It takes about 3 days to die from thirst. It takes well over 2 months to die of hunger. I fasted for 45 days when I first became a Nazarite Rasta, and I didn't die. I lost weight down to 117 pounds. I weigh about 160 now. And it really cleaned me out, and I got indwelt with the Holy Spirit. And that's one reason I'm talking to you now. So back on this pack, having a knife is really important, because you can make fires, you can chop down trees, you can get your food, you can defend yourself. There's many uses of a survival knife. And next part of the shelter is I have a 6-pound backpacking tent. This is a Marmot Tungsten 3P. 6 pounds is backpackable, is really light. This Marmot 3-person tent really is good for 2-person and 1 person with lots of room. I also have a hammock. This is a military issue foam sleeping pad, very, very light, that you strap to the bottom of your Exodus bag. It's good to have a wool blanket. This is an Swiss Army wool blanket. You can make shelter with this. Cover your bench off the ground in a lean-to to keep you warm in the winter. It has many purposes for keeping you warm. This is a heavy-duty survival tarp. It has Mylar, heat-reflective Mylar on one side, and this is really heavy material. This is not like one of these. And I have redundancy. This is a Titan emergency survival blanket, and this is much finer. It's Mylar, it's green on one side. And you can use this to line the roof of your lean-to to reflect heat from your lean-to fire. You can cover yourself if you're in an emergency tornado flood where you just out, your house is blown down and you're in inclement weather. This little survival blanket is really little. It can fit in a pocket in your glove compartment of your car. These cost about $3 to $5 online. You can get cheap versions for $1 at dollar stores. They're really cheap, but they work. So after that, I have a survival hammock. When I get to that, I'll show you it. But comes water. Acquiring fresh, potable water is really important. Because you can die from thirst or get giardia or leptosporidium. There's all kind of living little squigglies in surface water. So having a stainless steel cup, this is just a little one with a little carabiner on it that I can connect to my Exodus bag. And this thing slips down. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, this goes onto your thing, but you can boil water in this. And I have a water filter. I also have a little coffee pot in this. This is all in my pack. This is a stainless steel little coffee pot that you can sterilize, boil water, make teas, make coffee. It has a strainer in it. But this is real good for purifying water also. And I would recommend stainless steel. Is better for you than aluminum. And having tape, this is Gorilla Tape, is really important for repairing tarp, tent tears, thick handles on your equipment. Lots of purposes for that. I have extra clothing. This is a long sleeve camo shirt. This is a stainless steel camp mess kit that has pots in it. I haven't used this yet. I'm still packing this Exodus bag. And a lot of this stuff, I've been camping since I was little. I've camped all over the Upper Peninsula, all over the United States, in Jamaica, Canada. But I have aluminum foil in here, and these are stackable pots. Little fry pan, little 2 saucepans. But again, these can be used, of course, to cook food, fry fish, make stews, and sterilize water, which is really important, having sterile water. I have a first aid kit. I have these little heat cans, which will come in when fire is almost impossible to cook with. And again, you can get these from dollar stores. This is a heavy-duty survival tarp, more heavy than that other one. And again, shelter is extremely important. I can make lean-tos and cover the roof with this. I'm gonna have to pack this back up, so I'm gonna show you. This costs about $100. It's an extra heavy-duty military-grade camo survival tarp. It has a lot of tie-down points on it. That's strong woven material across here. This is really, really heavy. I use this up near Snoqualmie Falls in the Pacific Northwest when I camped out visiting my daughter. So this, you can cover your tent with, you can cover your lean-to with, your shelter, or a little cabin you make. You can make it, use it as a poncho blanket. There's many uses of this heavy-duty tarp, and it folds up really small, which I'm gonna have to do. Again, it fits in this little pack. Knock my arrows over. And these are arrows. I'm an archer, and these are really important for survival. I'll just briefly touch on that later. This is my stainless steel water bottle. Again, you can boil water in this. It's really lightweight, extremely important to have. And you can use your smog, which is good to have for many purposes. Always carry one of these. And don't worry about it making you look like a terrorist. People that wear these aren't all terrorists. There are many people around the world use these. Survivalists, people in our military, campers, backpackers. But this is a big scarf. I got a camel color. And you can filter water with this. You can put this over this bottle and have a pre-filter of larger debris out of a stream or surface water and pour into here. You know, you make a little cup in there and pour your water into there and filter it. Set this on a fire and make it boil, and it'll kill the bacteria. This gets the big particles out. This kills the bacteria, and then you can drink it. You must boil your water. And I have further, and this is my canteen. This I have redundancy. It's like 2 means 1, because you could lose 2, and you still got 1. 1 means none. 3 means 2, because you could lose 1 and you still have 2. Water is extremely important, helping people that are in a situation that don't have a water container. This is a military issue stainless steel water canteen. It's full of water right now, so it's ready to go. Has a carabiner so I can hang it off the outside of my bag, and it comes with a cup with a detachable handle that folds out. You can boil water in that, cook in that, eat your food, drink, and this fits right into it like that. This folds under here, and this goes into my military issue, which has mole clips on here to clip on your belt or your pack. Canvas cover on it. This neatly goes into here and snaps down. You can get these at survival stores, Army surplus stores, and online. These are extremely useful and important for water in a survival. And another scarf, same thing. You can use it for filtering water, covering your nose, all kind of stuff. And when it's dusty or smoky. Having a headlamp is extremely important with LED lights and rechargeable batteries. I have Nikon rechargeable batteries, and I have a little solar panel to charge my NiCads with. And this just flicks on. I don't have the batteries in here yet on. And this allows you to work with two hands free, work with two hands free, and defend yourself with two hands free. Having a headlamp is extremely important, and riding a bike or a motorcycle, everywhere you look, the light looks. If it's on your handlebars, if you look over here, you can't see. I race mountain bikes, so having these is extremely important. And this is a little survival kit. It has an emergency whistle, paracord, which I'll get to next, a compass. Inside of here is waterproof matches, more fire starting potential, which is, again, redundancy. I'm going to flip this out. Try to hurry up here. Okay, this here is a camp solar shower. It's very lightweight, packs down real small. I use these in Jamaica, and when I travel across the United States camping in the national forest. I rarely ever stay in a hotel. Lots of reasons for that. But this is a solar shower right here. It has a carry handle. We use these in Jamaica. You fill up the water here. You pull this to take a shower. You're hanging up in a tree from a rope. If you leave it in the sun for too long, if it gets scalding hot, you can also use this as a water carrier. It holds 5 gallons to bring water to your camp, and use this to put it into you through the filter and boil your water. So this is a solar shower. Another good thing, water is extremely important in a survival situation. This is my camp hammock. This hangs between 2 trees, 2 posts, and it gets you off the ground. So you could build a lean-to or put a survival tarp over this, have the hammock under it, and your fire next to you. And as long as you insulate it off the ground, you stay much warmer. The ground transfers cold to you. So getting off the ground is extremely important. These are my tent stakes, aftermarket, aluminum that don't bend. And you can use that for tarps to make shelters. This is a water filter. And that's, again, water is extremely important. This is a Sawyer water filter. It costs less than $30. You can see that's the flow goes this way. You put a water bottle, they have these little water bottles, or a squirt pump, little squirt pump on this side goes in, and you squirt the water through here and it filters it. This is good for 100,000 gallons. A whole lot of water, whereas a life straw is good for about 300. This is good for 100,000. It's back flushable, and you can filter water many different ways. You can use this to have this gravity feed into a container. We're holding this over it. So these Sawyers are highly recommended. They're really lightweight. and they come with a syringe and some water bottle things, little instructions on it, and some little water pouches, squeeze pouches. This is a squeeze pouch that you squeeze the water through here to filter it. And what's so good about this is how lightweight it is. So these Sawyers, you can get them online. SAWYER, Sawyer Water Filters, I think, .com. Roll this back up. I'm going to pack this when I'm finished. This is paracord, short for parachute cord. This is extremely important for making shelters, bow drills, for making a bow drill fire. Later on my survival show, I'm going to go up north, camp out, or maybe in Jamaica, and show you how to make a bow drill fire. This paracord is extremely strong. It has over 500 pounds of holding strength. It's woven, and inside there's fine little nylon lines in it that you can use for thread or fishing line. When you strip this and separate this, you get a lot of cordage out of that. So this is really strong. You use it to tie lean-to shelters, lash branches together to make a shelter. Many different things you use this paracord for survival, and it's really important. That's 100 feet of it. This is another water filter. Again, redundancy. This is a Katadyn. It's a more serious filter than the Sawyer, but the Sawyer works really good. This is bigger. It can be clean. This is a cleaning kit. This is extra filter media. Again, this is a squeeze bag, and this is how this filter looks. It has a hand pump on it. It has a cartridge that can replace, and it filters like 99.9% of everything out of your water. So having water filters in your survival Exodus bag, and a couple different kinds and different ways to filter it and boil it, is really important for your survival. Try to get through this real quick. This is a really small fold-up shovel, and shovels are really important. This screws down, I won't do the whole thing. It makes a little shovel. You can dig a trench around your tent so water don't pour into your tent. You can dig a latrine or outhouse with this. There's a lot of purposes. You could grow your food and grow your herbs with this. Folds up really gorilla growing. And that's one thing. In a survival situation, bring sprouting seeds. Don't plan on hoarding up, carrying a whole lot of food into the wilderness if you got to get there, to the woods or to higher elevation. Have sprouting seeds, lettuce seeds, green seeds, kale, cabbage, Chinese cabbage, things that grow real fast. You can do micronized greens and have greens in 5 weeks. You're not going to starve within 5 weeks. So having vegetable seeds, sprouting seeds like alfalfa, clover seeds, and mung seeds is really important. Now I have a backup straight survival knife. This is a shorter one. It has a recurve blade and a micarta handle. It's smaller than the other one. It's a different high carbon steel. You can't strike ferro rods as easy off this one. You can use the blade, but it kind of dulls it up a little. But this can build shelters and do everything the other one can do. But it's a little bit smaller. You can carve better with it, do bushcrafting, make notches and wood, spear points, all that kind of thing with this. And if you eat game, you can skin game better with this and get a better hold while you're lifting and getting the sinew off and all the kind of nasty stuff. Never mind that. And then I have hemp cord wrapped around the end of this. Paracord works too, but that's for a different purpose. I have side pockets on this, and in here is what all Rastas need to carry in an emergency. This is my ganja right here. So in emergency, you know, this is my Tahoe OG crossed with rug burn. See that? That's really dense, grown organic from my last project. Tahoe OG rug burns tight. This relaxes you, calms your nerves, so you can think about your situation and not get all jumpy. You know what I mean? Just sit down. Like if you get lost or something, roll you up a little spliff, you know, make you some tea, break out your little thing, with some coffee or something, now to get you more worked up. And then think about your situation, what you're going to build a shelter, you're going to get you some water, you're going to make your situation better, you're going to go fishing, or go gather some berries, you know, or some nuts in the woods, or some wild edibles like purslane or shepherd's purse, all kind of stuff. Nettles you can eat. But let me get to this side pouch again. Here is a freeze-dried beans and rice. I just put this in here for the show. I would pack my own beans and rice. You just suck the air out of a little baggie, you know, like a ounce bag size baggie, and put your little beans and rice in there. 1 beans, 1 rice, and carry that in your bug out bag. It's lightweight and it makes a complete protein. Now this knife is different. It's a survival knife too. This is one of the most famous, I think, Swedish Mora knives. This is a Mora knife, or a survival bushcraft knife. This has a really good stainless steel blade on it. It's really sharp. It has a Scandinavian or Scandi grind. It has a really nice molded handle on it. It's not full tang. I think it has a 3/4 tang. Goes about right to here. But this knife is good for smaller chores around the camp. And I really love the cut, the grind of this blade, the Scandinavian grind, the thickness of it, and you can see the different purposes in my survival knife. This is the big chopper, chop down a tree, notch, you know, branches to fit another branch and put lashing over it. This is almost a 1/4 inch thick. This is a more finesse. You can fillet a fish with this, clean a fish, chop your vegetables, do kitchen chores, whittle with it, carve a spear point or a trap hinge. But this is a Mora knife. They're very inexpensive. This one costs about $45 to $50 online. This one costs about $18. This is a Mora heavy duty companion, maybe $20, $22 or so. But this is the Mora heavy duty companion. And this knife is almost a must have in your survival kit, especially for the money. If you want to just get one knife and you ain't got that much money, I'd suggest the Mora knife brands. They come in all different colors. I like this camo black. So that's the Mora heavy duty companion. It comes with a hardened thermoplastic like sheath that firmly locks in. Has a little loose clip for your belt. You quickly detach it. It's really lightweight, and having a knife is really important when you're in a survival situation. Having 2 to 3 knives. And where am I? All out the camera. Right here is my, excuse me. Okay, here we go. Next we have, back to the water. These are water purification tablets that you place 1 or so, and depending on how much water in your water. Let it sit for about 15 minutes to a half hour, and it kills all the little squiggly living bacteria, Giardia bacteria, Leptosporidium bacteria. Where are they? Leptosporidium, you don't want them big words. It gets in your stomach and start growing and causing problems. Okay, this is more fire starter, more dryer lint, sawdust, cotton, and all that to make fires with my fire steel sparks on there. These are emergency blankets. I have a few in here to make a bigger shelter for the walls. These are waterproof matches. Again, different ways to make fire. And you can use a magnifying glass or the bottom of a bottle. Break a bottle with your survival knife or a rock, a little Coke bottle or something. You could magnify the sun onto your tinder and make a fire that way. And here's another little survival kit. It has all kind of little neat stuff in here. I'm not going to pull everything. Safety pins, fishing line, a fire starter, a button, a sewing kit, tweezers, quite a few different things. Some thread, but it's a camping sewing kit mainly. Here is some wicks, kerosene wicks. They cost 30 cents each. You can take a soda bottle, a glass soda bottle, or a can. Soda bottle makes a better one. And take the top, and with your emergency knife, punch a hole, thread this through the hole, fill it with kerosene or camp fuel, and you can make a torch or a lantern with these. Again, I have more paracord, which means you have backups, redundancy from the 100-foot paracord that I showed you earlier. And here I have tie-downs. These is ratchet tie-down straps for shelters, for lashings, to make hammocks, lean tools. This is more cordage, paracord. I have a bicycle inner tube wrapped up, many purposes for this. You can make slingshots. You can use it to repair water leaks, lashings, quite a few things with that. I have safety pins, extra large. I have backup batteries for my headlamps. And speaking of lamps, I also have emergency camp LED lamp that has a solar panel on the top, a crank up charger that charges the battery in here. When you crank it, the battery charges. And now the lights is on. Let me turn them on. There you go. But this is extremely important, having light at your camp. This is a coffee filter with a mesh screen. I use this to filter water before you boil it to get the larger particles out. You can also use your smog. These are Kind energy bars. I have a few of these. And in your emergency situation, this is lightweight. I used to mountain bike race. I was an athlete. I ran track. But these are lightweight and they're self-explanatory. You know what to do with that. Here, I have ball bearings in here. This is one of my dispensary, what I had in there, Tangy. That's a good strength. Never mind that. These are ball bearings from a car. I had to do my ball bearings in my front wheels. I saved these for a slingshot that you can make with that bicycle inner tube. And I'm really good with bows and arrows, slingshots, anything that requires accuracy. I can shoot. And on that, this is my bow. This is my compound bow. I'm really accurate with this. I have a pin sight on it. I have a whisker biscuit arrow rest. Let me put this down. This can strap to your pack. I'm going to put a headless arrow. This is my fletching, red, gold, and green. I fletch my own arrows. These are Blazer vanes, extremely fast flying and accurate. This whisker biscuit holds the arrow really firmly in place in here, and it causes you to have a really accurate aim. I shoot with a glove instead of release. When you pull this back, the pulleys hold it. It's called let off, so that you can hold this for a long time and get your aim really straight. And I can put 3 arrows into a 1-inch hole at 50 feet. and split arrows with this. You never shoot a bow dry. You let it down easy. It pulls back, and when it lets off, it's at about 60 pounds of force. This arrow flies almost 300 feet a second when it comes out of here. It has more penetrating power than almost any bullet. If you fill a box with sand and shoot most calibers of bullet into that sand, they will stop somewhere in between that box of sand. These arrows will pass straight through. When I put a broadhead on it or a field point, this is a field point. These can shoot through metal, through car doors. They're extremely dangerous for game. Small game, rabbits, birds, and fish. When you put a fishing arrow on this, you can eat your food with one of these and protect yourself from wild animals and two-leggeds. This has I'm going to do this briefly. It has a wrist guard on it, has a stabilizer that holds the bow down. If I didn't have this stabilizer, it would go up. It has a pin sight, pulleys that really increase the shooting power and hold of this bow, and is extremely accurate. I'm part Native American Cherokee, and archery has been a part of my life since I was a little boy hunting. Alright, that's my compound bow. I also have a fishing reel and a fishing kit. And I'm a fisherman. I've been fishing since I was little. And so I'm moving right along. I'm almost done with this. This back pouch has more fire starter in a little Altoid can. It has more dryer lint and more fire steels that I can use to trade or give to people on the road that don't have a way to start a fire. These are good for thousands of fires. Outlast many, many big lighters, the sparks that come from this, and they work in the rain, like in a flood or something like that. And this keeps it dry. Of course, I have a little toothpaste, toothbrush. This is honing oil for my knives, my hatchet. I have a camp hatchet. I don't have it here. Well, I have a marbles hatchet and a Fiskars hatchet. That is really important to have too, and a fold-up saw. A Corona 10-inch fold-up saw is really important. This is mosquito insect repellent. Another thing very important, especially with the Zika virus that's out now. And in places like Jamaica. This is a sharpening puck for my knives and my hatchet. Hard grind, soft grind on one side. This is a compass, and these are some tie downs. These are shoelaces. Again, there's a lot of uses for these. And making bow drills, lashing things, even a tourniquet with that for somebody badly cut. I have more fire steels in here to give the people or trade when a disaster happened or on the road. And this is a pencil sharpener that you use on little pieces of wood to make kindling or tinder to make a fire with a bow drill, or mainly with a fire steel. I got one more thing to show you. This was my survival knife that I used for over 15 years. It has paracord on it, has a slingshot, kind of getting rusty. I had it in Jamaica for 7 years. It has a slingshot attachment on it, and it's from Gerber, called a Survival King. I lost the compass up in the Huron National Forest, lost. I thought the blade might be interfering because the compass was just spinning for some reason. So I took it out of here, and then I found my way as I was lost, then I lost my compass. But never mind that. This used to have a little fishing kit in there and some other stuff that I can't remember because it was over 12 years ago. But this is a Survival King. I used this knife in Jamaica for 7 years. I opened coconuts. I opened 10 cans a lot with this. I didn't have a can opener. And it's still sharp. I batoned zinc roofing with this and split roofing, hitting it with a stick, and split my metal roofing. This is a really tough knife by Gator called a Survival King. Much smaller than the other ones, much lighter, hollow handle, but it's still here with me after about 15 years. So, that is my pack out. Last thing I'm going to show you, well, is my EDC knife. I wear it in a clip pouch right here, if you can see it at my waist. I have an Ontario Model 1. This is an everyday carry knife. It's about 3 inches. It's legal. Really good high carbon stainless steel blade that's coated. This blade is extremely sharp, and I use this knife more than all the other knives. I use this knife sometimes 10 times a day in my everyday runnings, in my work, in my farming, my gardening, trimming branches, harvesting food, all kind of stuff. This knife is extremely important because it will always be with you, hopefully. It could be in your pocket, in your pouch, in your purse, in your bag, in your glove compartment. Or it has a clip right here. You can just clip it on your pocket like this, if you can see. And then clothing. These is BDU pants, battle dress uniform pants. They're really thick, military spec material with reinforced knees. These wear really long and they dry really quick when they get wet. And they have ripstop fabric. They have lots of cargo patches, pockets to carry stuff in it, like money and stuff. But never mind that. This EDC knife is really important to have, and I have it in a, this is really a gun clip pouch, extra clip pouch, but I use it for a knife, and I use it for my Leatherman tool. This is my Leatherman tool. That's another really important thing. You know about these. They got all kinds of little attachments, screwdriver. I'm not going to go too much into that. Many different models of that. Really important to have. I'm going to hurry this up. This is my first aid kit. Lots of gouge, bandages, band-aids, Neosporin, triple anesthetic. You know the stuff, all kind of tape. I get hurt, I get cut, I get broke bones, I get all kind of contusions and whatnot. I live a rough life. And these are some tweezers. So having one of these is extremely important, first aid kit. And I have it in a waterproof container, real cheap, like, what do you call it? I don't know, little plastic Ziploc container. And I'll show you another Schrade knife right quick. This is a knife I got for a present for one of my daughters. This is the new Marcata handle version, really pretty. Marcata is like a man-made, I don't know, paper, wood, mix, something that's really tough, really grippy, and really pretty. But this is one of my daughter's SCHF Marcata version, Micarta handle, really pretty. So, this is Seven Thunders Exodus bag. I have a little telescoping fishing reel, I don't have it right here, and a fishing kit, lots of hooks, fishing line, that kind of thing in it. And this is my daughter's Mora knife. I got the girly version. This is the girly version of a Mora knife. Same, a little bit more finesse blade, but really tough. You can baton it, you can chop, you know, you can do a lot with this knife out in the woods. That's for all the queens, for guys that like hot pink. So, this is Seven Thunders. This is my survival Exodus bag pack out. And I get right back to you. So this was my Exodus bag pack up, load out. I have everything back in the bag except this bottle. I didn't put that back in my canteen. This is another thing. This is a 70-hour emergency candle. It's a little heavy, but it's a good thing to have. Even the wax from this has uses in a survival situation. One of the main things you need to be concerned about in an emergency situation is your clothing. Have warm, sensible clothing and have really good footwear. These are my boots. I wear size 12. I got feet that could measure a room. I got 12-inch feet. But they have really good treads on them. I lived in Jamaica for 7 years. I went through about 10 pairs of boots. The boots would separate and be talking because of the tropical humidity and heat and sun. The soles would separate. Most boots are glued on. These are stitched on. These are really tough boots. These are Thorogoods. They're about $175. I've had these boots for 2 years, all through the woods, jumping on shovels, all kind of stuff. They're 100% waterproof. They have zip up sides. They have a clamp attachment here, and really grippy treads. You can run up hills, mountains, go through streams. Good footwear is extremely important. And sisters out there, I know you're beautiful and stuff. You want to try to look sexy and pretty, but you need some boots, and you need some combat BDU, battle dress, uniform, pants, heavy materials. After Armageddon, there's going to be celebrations, parties, festivals. You can stretch your stuff again. People are going to be getting married, having a good time. And people are going to drink from the river of life, eat from the trees of life, and live forever. There are people living right now who will never die. That's the reward if you survive what's coming. There are old people. I'm 57. I'll be 58 March 26 next month. This is February 26. I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian since I became a Rasta in 1981. I gave up alcohol, took the Nazarite vow found at number 6, chapter 1 through verse 8 in the Bible. I gave up alcohol, drugs, chemicals. I grow organically. I gave up meat and alcohol. I use herbs. Rasta use herb for our meditation, for uplifting our mood, for inspiration in our music, to appreciate things, to relax. And it never has killed one person. It's a plant that the Most High created. It has more beneficial properties and uses than any other herb. I think garlic and noni juice, noni fruit and its leaves, have a lot of healing properties also. So fitness is really important. It's time for people to give up meat. It's unsustainable with so many people on the planet. It takes up too much land, too much water to grow one cow. That acreage and that water and that feed and that corn and them soybeans and everything that go into that cow could feed thousands of people if you use that land for fruit trees, for grains, for vegetables, for herbs. You could feed way more people nutritious food that they were intended to eat instead of the bodily parts of an animal. That was famine food. That was food after the flood when there's no food left hardly, all flooded out. That's when you get down to nothing. Then you could take a life from an animal that has a soul, that has love in it, that like a dog laughs, A pig laughs, it smiles, it feels, it's extremely intelligent. They have fear. When they get killed, the adrenaline goes into the flesh. The fear goes into the flesh, the paranoia. A lot of people are afraid. They're afraid of me. I love them. I wouldn't hurt them. If they drop their purse or their money, I run and get it and catch up with them and give it back. They don't have to be clutching their purse when they see me. You know what I mean? They're afraid. They're afraid of a lot. I'm not afraid of what's coming. I'm not afraid of Nibiru. I'm not afraid of earthquakes, tidal waves, famine, pestilence, the Russians, the Chinese. I love everybody. The Middle Easterners, the Iraqis, Iranians, Afghanistan. I love everybody. I'm not afraid of nobody. I'm not afraid of nothing. Fear serves no purpose. So in these times, let's calm down. Let's come together. Let's get to higher elevation. Let's form communities. None of them get more than 100 people. When you get to 100 people, you take people, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, farmers, and swarm like the bees. Form another community and let the first community support the second till it get going. So there's not too many people on one spot. So we can have sustainable properties where that property feeds everybody on that property and spread that. And that's how people used to live. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And the Creator intended this planet, Urantia, to be a paradise. For people not to age, people not to get sick, people not to get old. Your cells rejuvenate. Water was supposed to be rejuvenative. You're supposed to be eating fruits, vegetables, noni juice, mango juice, soursop, plantains, yams, greens. There's over 50,000 tropical fruits in the world. How many do we know? It's because they keep this from us and they feed us disgusting things, parts of animals that we weren't supposed to eat. This dulls your senses. It ages you prematurely. It robs you of your chi, your inner energy, your inner strength, your vitality. I'm extremely fit and strong. I can do over 100 push-ups. I've done 210 push-ups a set. And I'm 57, about to be 58. I'm way more fit than when I was 21. I can only do about 50 push-ups then. I know myself. I was a meat eater. I used to eat pork. My daddy grew up in Mississippi. My grandfather had 500 acres in Tylertown, Mississippi. They grew watermelons, sugar cane, peanuts, cattle, pigs, chickens, greens, sugar cane. And pork was a big part. Pork chops, ham. We went down every Christmas holiday almost. And my daddy, they shot a hog in the forehead and we witnessed it. They butchered it. They wrapped it in white paper. They froze it. They put it in a cooler. They got bundles of sugar cane, peanuts, peanut butter, cane syrup, and we brought it back up north. And that pork made me sick. I had flu-like symptoms. I threw up. I had all kind of skin breakouts, all kind of stuff. I was in a daze. Your thinking is slow. When I went on that fast for 45 days, when I first became a Rasta, my thinking cleared up. I could ask my inner spirit questions and it answered it. So my message to you is to give up meat. It's not sustainable as much. Wild game is okay, like small rabbits, quails, pheasants, even venison, deer. Is one of the most delicious flesh foods I've ever ate. I cooked it with some sherry wine with some onions and some garlic and a little dill on there, and it was excellent. So that's back when I was a hunter and a meat eater. So these times we're facing major environmental disasters and catastrophes. In this 2016, the climate is going to totally fall apart. And it's because of a planetly body coming in here. Don't blame no politicians and definitely don't blame Obama. I'm sick of all of that. I'm not going to go into politics or none of them kind of things. But you shouldn't blame him for everything. There's a lot of these problems he has nothing to do with. We have to deal with this ourselves. And people shouldn't be hoarding up food until there's nothing in the grocery stores, because that's what's going to happen. When the dollar collapses, when the farms are all flooded, when they're burned out, when the acid rain is hitting them, when people haven't paid attention to farmers or gave them one reward on the TV or the radio or anywhere. People ignore farmers. You got us on the back burner. And we are really needed in this world, farmers. They need to have awards. They need to be promoted. They need to be funded. Right now, greenhouses with LED supplemental lighting, with wind generators powering them, water filters with tilapia ponds filtering the water, providing rich, effluent fertilizer water from the fish waste into your plants is what we should be doing right now, is creating more food, growing more food. You can grow lettuce in 5 weeks. Have little bitty lettuce in a tray, cut it and have you salads. Is way more nutritious than meat. You can regrow sprouts in 5 days, alfalfa sprouts in a jar with a lady's fishnet stockings or nylon stockings on, or cheesecloth or mosquito netting with a rubber band or a cord. Fill it with water, put your seeds in there, maybe 2 tablespoons, soak them, then rinse them about 5 times a day, pour the water off, put them on an angle, and sprouts will fill up that jar within 5 days. You can even use a pillowcase of cheesecloth sewn together, like we did at peace gatherings, and lay them on a hillside with a tarp in the shade, and sprout whole pillowcases of sprouts to feed the masses. So there are ways to survive this. We need to get to high elevations, away from the coastline, away from fault lines, away from volcanoes, and where there's not going to be floods. A lot of places on the earth under 300 feet are going to be underwater. The whole eastern seaboard, the west coast, underwater up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, up to the Allegheny or Appalachian Mountains in the east. Smoky Mountains is going to be up safe ground. And there's so many changes coming because this planet has gotten so wickedly wrong and murderous and polluting. If it was allowed to go on, nobody would survive. The whole Pacific Ocean, all the fish almost are dead. The starfish, the mollusks, the crustaceans, the sardines. The fisheries have closed down on the West Coast because of Fukushima radiation. So we're facing food shortages, starvation, polluted water, houses being blown over by these tornadoes and earthquakes that are in more frequency than ever before in the history of this planet, because this is Armageddon. And many people are asleep. You're not awake. You're stuck on your little cell phones getting brainwashed all day. You're on the TV getting brainwashed, filled with propaganda. Go to YouTube. Click on Nibiru. Click on the financial crisis. Click on the last days. Click on a lot of things. Fukushima, the Pacific Ocean, the state of farmers, how much acres burned out west. Well over 10 million acres burned this just last few years alone. The west is burning, and that's a prophecy. The west shall surely perish into flames. A third of this planet is going to be burned. A third of the oceans will be polluted. A third of the farms and the food and the crops will be destroyed. It's all kind of catastrophes coming to those who are destroying the earth, who are killing people, because this got to stop. So right now, what's going to happen is all major cities are going to be destroyed, one way or the other. It's time to exodus, like Bob Marley, Moses, was getting you to do. I'm Joshua. I want to take you across the Jordan, up to high elevation, into the modern promised land. And that's where we're going. I have property in Jamaica at about 1,000 feet. My next video, I'm going to show clips from that, reason about that. I'm looking for people who love the Creator, who love Christ, who love doing good, who love their people, who live by the 10 Commandments and Christ's 3 golden rules. That's what I require, that you love, that you're there for positive work. You're welcome to join me at my property. I don't care what race you are. I don't care nothing about that. What I care is you love the Most High. You follow the 10 Commandments and Christ's 3 golden rules. Love the Most High with your whole mind, body, and soul. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. And love your neighbor, I mean everybody. Muslims, Christians, Jews, as yourself. If you don't want it to happen to you, don't do it to nobody else. My saying is food tastes best in the mouth of a friend. If I don't have anybody to share my good things with, I can't be happy. I grow my fruits, my vegetables in Jamaica for my people. While I'm there, anybody can come to my gate. They can pick my mangoes, my coconuts, my neeseberries, my bananas, my plantains, dig my yams. All the fruits on my property they can have. All they got to do is pick one for them and one for the property and leave it. That's my rule. And when I'm gone, like now, they chop the trees with them machetes, keep the weeds off them, the whips, the vines, and they can eat anything they want there. So it's time for all of us to get to high elevation, even if you got to get to the national forest. It's that crucial right now. These houses are going to be tombs. They're going to be traps. And the better your house is, the more trapped you're going to be. Better to live in a tent, better to live in the woods in a lean-to, with a survival tarp over you, with a survival fire, than to be in these cities when the shit hit the fan. And it's already hitting the fan all over the world, and it's spreading. There's some cities already wiped totally out, off the face of the earth. That's coming here to the United States. And it's been here. There's people's houses going now. There's people's places burned down now. There's earthquakes that topple buildings now, hurricanes and wash people out now, flooded people out all over the place. There's floods up to people's window sills. So you got to open your eyes and see. This is Armageddon. This is the last days of this system. And paradise is right around the corner. You just got to survive one day longer than the last wicked man. And when all wicked people are wiped off the face of the earth, when there are only God's children left, people that love each other, Christ's throne will descend from the heavens. His temple will come to earth, and he will actually dwell with us for 1,000 years. I am his warlord, and I'm here before him to pave the way and to make sure nothing happens to him this time or to any of you. I want to protect you. I want to get you to high elevation, to fertile ground where coconuts and bamboo grow, like on my property. Bamboo is very useful for building utensils, all kind of things, even for food. And coconuts has many uses too: food, fuel, shelter. Same with bamboo. These two trees is really important for you to have for your survival. So getting to a high tropical elevation away from volcanoes, coastlines, or earth fault zones, military bases, or nuclear plants is really important now. We should have did this years ago. So I'm asking you to start packing up, planning, to get to the hills, pack you a Exodus bag, and have you something in here for shelter, to make shelter, for water, to filter water, to gather food, to create food, and for your comfort, light to see, warm clothing, warm blankets, reading material. There's all kind of things, a little guitar, a little drum, that can entertain people in these camps, because these camps are going to be here. And in these camps, as prophesied, the survivors will be singing the songs of Moses in the hills while the cities burn and 100-pound hailstones come through their roofs on fire. The songs of Moses are the songs of Bob Marley. And these songs are sung all over the world now. We know the lyrics. And that's what we're going to be singing around these campfires. It's already prophesied, and I already see it. You go to gatherings, the Rainbow Gathering, Reggae on the River, survival festivals, peace gatherings. Bob Marley's t-shirts is there. These flags of Ethiopia, of King David come again. Haile Selassie, King David, a small man, beautiful in appearance, was promised to be the firstborn of the resurrected kings in the last days, and he will be called King of Kings and Lord of Lords, elect of God. Haile Selassie is a small man, beautiful in appearance. He is King David. No, he is not the Most High God, and he said so himself, and I've never said so. And most Rastas that are true Rastas know so. He's a great king. He's a great return king. And he showed us Rastas how to be a king. He set the example, just as Christ set the example for him to be a king. Haile Selassie is a Christian. He believes in Christ. He sees Christ as his Lord, his Savior, his King. And I see him also as my hero. We see eye to eye. And so, this is what this means. This is the King's flag of the new, natural world order. A different than new world order. God has a plan, and they have a plan. We're going to see who's the best of planners. Because our plan is to turn this earth into paradise for righteous people, not for the rich, not for the elite. A lot of them are righteous, but not many. And it's going to be a paradise. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to use sustainable agriculture, organic agriculture, wind energy, solar energy, water energy, hydrogen cells. Non-pollutant, non-damaging energy is what this earth is going to be covered with. Every year, every month, we're going to have 4 moon gatherings for 3 days. One the day before, the day of, one day after. We're going to come together in a big meadow, a big pasture, and we're going to have a festival. We're going to have trade circles. We're going to have dances. We're going to have booth setups, bartering, people being married, people meeting each other every month. And that's how it's going to be. We're going to be partying for 1,000 years. And all of us is going to grow to perfection. All of us are going to be either handsome and beautiful. And we're going to look about the same age when we reach our prime and never grow older than that. That is my vision. That is my dream. And there's many people, the humble, the meek, the wise, the loving, the patient, the knowledgeable, the overstanding. The people who have self-control are going to inherit this earth. And many of you have Exodus bags already. Many of you know more about survival than me. I know a lot, but it's people like Gideon's Tactical, Survival Lily, Survival on Purpose, Ultimate Survivals, Prepared Mind, One-on-One, Native Survival, Far North Bushcraft. Remember these sites. Go to them. And from those sites, go to Naburu and look up that. Look up the Michael Scallion map, Vision of the New World. This will lead you to more videos that will prepare you to have faith that these are the times that you need to get out of the city. Like Christ said, when you see these things, wars in one place after another, earthquakes and increasing frequency, food shortages in one place of another, and then when you see the disgusting thing that causes desolation, standing in a holy place, I interpret that as nuclear bomb or a nuclear weapon in the Middle East. Then to not even return to your house to get your outer garment, to flee to the hills. He didn't say fight. He didn't say protest. He didn't say have no bumbleclot revolution or get 6,000 bumbleclot bullets to shoot people. He said to head to the hills. Away from these floods, away from these fires, away from the looting, and away from the cannibals that will be in the cities, starving to the point of eating their own children. You don't want that. You don't want to be a part of that. Be better to eat fish, wild game, nuts and berries up in the woods than to be into this mess in these big cities. So it's time to get out, get to the hills. I'll be out of here, God willing, within 2 months. I hope to be in Jamaica up at my property. Look me up, call me, link me. I have land stretching as far as my eyes can see. Barren, empty, covered with bamboo, wild mango trees, wild guavas, wild African yams. They grow this big, serious thing that you cut up and it's like an Irish potato but much more nutritious. That's what's happening in my property in Jamaica. So that's where I'm going. The Upper Peninsula, Michigan, at high elevation is a really good place. Up in Wisconsin, Utah. I can go on and on. There's good places in Canada. that you can be in higher elevations in the tropics. I'm away from volcanoes. I've already set all the danger zones. So it's time for you to get there. I'm Seven Thunders, Joshua Seven Thunders. That's my name for this stage of my life. I'm part Native American, African, and Irish. That don't really matter, but it's the reason I chose my name. What matters is we reunite as one and stop seeing people as a color, as a gender, or as a race, but see people by the deeds that they do. How much good they do for others, how much they improve the earth, how much they improve the environment for the children to make it safe, to make it fun, to make it beautiful, to make it clean. And that's what we're going to do to this earth. And righteousness always wins over evil. You can't be strong if you're wrong. And a lot of these governments are wrong. And a lot of really meek, humble people, like hippies, like gypsies, like Rastas, like Mennonites, like Quakers, like the Amish, are humble. They're ready. They're self-sufficient. And these people are who's going to be around to set up the new world. This is Joshua Seven Thunders. This is my Exodus bag. Load out. Stay tuned for more videos.